The next few days after that first cooking class felt like walking a tightrope for Emma Lewis. On one hand, she was filled with a new kind of hope. Liam had entered her life like a gentle breeze after a long, cold winter. His smile, his laugh, the way he looked at her with quiet kindness, it was the first warmth she had felt since Jason disappeared. But on the other hand, the sudden message from Jason left her unsettled. Why now? She wondered. Jason had been a major chapter in her life. They had shared plans, hopes, dreams, talks about moving in together, about vacations and weekend mornings. But when the relationship ended, it wasn't clean or easy. No dramatic scene, just a slow retreat into silence that left Emma questioning her worth and her future. Now, here he was again, asking to talk, apologizing, asking for a second chance. Her heart was confused. Part of her wanted to hear him out too, find closure, or maybe something more. But another part feared being hurt all over again. The week in between Emma's week was restless. She found herself thinking about Liam more than she expected. She replayed their time in the kitchen, the way he struggled with the pasta dough, his shy attempts to make her laugh, the way their hands accidentally touched while stirring the sauce. She was surprised by how natural it felt to imagine him by her side, and how scary it was to want something new when she still had wounds that hadn't healed. Jason's messages haunted her phone like shadows she couldn't ignore. She tried to write back, tried to explain her feelings, but each time she started, the words tangled in her throat. Meanwhile, Liam sent her a simple text. Looking forward to seeing you Saturday. Don't burn the kitchen down. A small smile broke through her worries. She responded, no promises. The second cooking class Saturday came faster than she expected. Emma dressed carefully, a mix of nerves and excitement swirling inside her. She wasn't sure if she was ready to face Liam Agnor, if she was ready to confront the ghosts of her past walking into the cooking studio. She immediately spotted Liam. He was setting out aprons, the same mischievous grin on his face. One apron was embroidered with red letters, Queen of Cuisine. Liam held it up and winked at her. You made this last week, she asked, laughing. Only for you, he said softly. That simple gesture warmed her. It was clear Liam wasn't playing games. He was present. He was real. The class that night was assigned to cook chicken marsala, and mashed potatoes are comforting. Classic dish. As they worked side by side, the kitchen felt like a sanctuary. Emma guided Liam through using a meat thermometer and seasoning the sauce just right. Liam joked that she should be a cooking teacher instead of English. Emma smiled at that, feeling the wall she had built around her heart start to soften. Their conversation drifted from food to life. Liam told her how much he admired her patience with her students, with life, with herself. Emma admitted how hard it was to open up again after being hurt. You don't have to be afraid, Liam said, voice low and sincere. Not with me. She felt a flutter in her chest. It was a kind of moment that could change everything. Their hands brushed. Again, this time not accidental. They both held the same wooden spoon, lingering for a heartbeat longer before pulling away. Emma's cheeks flushed, but her smile was genuine. The moment before the storm after the class ended, they began packing up. Emma stepped out to the front room to grab her bag. Then she froze. Standing by the door, holding a small bouquet of wildflowers, was Jason. Her heart slammed in her chest. The air suddenly felt heavy, thick with memories she had tried to bury. Jason's eyes were soft but serious. Emma, he said quietly, can we talk, please? She wanted to say no. She wanted to run, but her legs didn't move. Inside, Liam was still wiping down counters, humming softly, unaware of the storm gathering just outside. Jason took a step forward, nervously holding out the flowers. I know I hurt you. I ran away because I was scared of commitment, of my own fears. But I never stopped loving you. I want to make things right. Please, just listen. Tears welled up in Emma's eyes. She looked at Jason, the man who had once been everything, and saw the uncertainty and hope in his gaze. Then she looked toward the studio door. Liam's silhouette framed by warm light. The man who made her laugh, who made her feel safe and seen. For the first time in months, Emma felt torn not between two men but between the past she thought she was done with, and a future that was just beginning to take shape. Liam's discovery and reaction. Liam stepped into the doorway, catching the last words of Jason's confession. His smile faded. The warmth in his eyes turned to something harder, something guarded. He looked at Emma, searching her face for answers. Emma met his gaze and saw the question there. Who is this? What does he mean to you? Her heart broke a little for Liam because she hadn't yet told him about Jason, about the silence, about the heartbreak. And now she had to choose whether to step back into her old life or take a chance on this new possibility. The emotional crossroads in that moment. The kitchen, the cozy, warm place where new love had begun to bloom felt like a battlefield. Emma's emotions were raw and tangled. Her hands trembled. Her mind raced. Could she forgive Jason? Could she trust Liam? Could she forgive herself for wanting both? Jason's voice was soft and desperate. Liam's presence was steady and hopeful. Emma felt pulled in both directions. She was caught between heartbreak and healing, between past pain and future promise. What this means for Emma's story in this part is about confronting fear and uncertainty. She has to decide if she's ready to open her heart again, to risk being hurt, or to embrace a new kind of love. It's a delicate, painful choice. She doesn't have the answers yet, but she knows that staying silent, pretending everything is simple, isn't an option. Her life, her heart, are changing. And sometimes love means stepping into the unknown, even when it's scary. Themes and emotions explored in part to heartbreak and forgiveness. Jason's return forces Emma to face old wounds and question whether healing is possible. New love and hope. Liam represents a chance for joy and safety, a future not defined by pain, choices, and consequences. Emma stands at a crossroads, unsure which path will lead to happiness. Vulnerability. Both Liam and Emma show their true feelings, exposing fears and hopes. Tension between past and present. The emotional pull of what was versus what could be creates real, relatable conflict. Why this story resonates many people have felt the confusion of moving on after heartbreak. They've faced moments when the past calls back unexpectedly. They've felt the excitement and fear of new love. This story captures that complex dance between longing and caution, between old pain and new beginnings. Emma and Liam are not perfect. They are real, flawed, hopeful, afraid, and brave. Their journey isn't about dramatic twists or explosions. It's about quiet moments, glances, small touches that mean everything. It's about the slow rebuilding of trust and the courage to try again. Ending on a soft cliffhanger, the story doesn't end with a neat resolution. Instead, it leaves readers with questions. Will Emma listen to Jason's apology? Can Liam forgive the past she hasn't fully shared? What kind of love will Emma choose? This open ending invites the audience to feel the emotional tension, to empathize deeply with the characters' struggles and hopes. It's the kind of ending that stays with you, like the scent of a good meal long after it's finished. Final thoughts. Part 2 of Cooking Class Got Too Hot deepens the emotional journey started in Part 1. It explores the complexity of healing, the bittersweetness of second chances, and the thrill and terror of falling in love again. Through simple but powerful storytelling, the story touches on universal feelings of longing, heartbreak, attraction, and hope. Emma's story is one of courage to open her heart, to face her past, and to imagine a future filled with warmth and possibility. It started on a Saturday, an ordinary kind of day in Seattle, cloudy skies, a soft breeze carrying the scent of wet pavement, and roasted coffee from the corner cafe. Emma Lewis didn't plan to meet anyone new that day. She hadn't even wanted to leave the house if she was honest. But she had made a promise to herself, say yes more often. And this cooking class was her first yes since her heart got broken 6 months ago. Emma, 33, was a high school English teacher. Quiet, thoughtful, someone who read poetry when the world got too loud. She wasn't flashy or dramatic. Her kind of beauty was soft and slow to notice, like autumn sunlight through a foggy window. For the last 2 years, she had been in a relationship with Jason, a real estate agent who had seemed perfect until he wasn't. One day, he started pulling away. Fewer calls, cold eyes, vague excuses, and just silence. He left her without a clear reason, and she was left to pick up the pieces on her own. Cooking had once been a love language for Emma. She used to bake when she was sad, or experiment with sauces when she was in love. But after Jason, even her kitchen felt empty. That's why the cooking class mattered. Wasn't just about pasta. It was about feeling something again. The studio was warm and inviting, located behind a weekend farmer's market that sold fresh herbs, handmade pasta, and sourdough bread still warm in paper bags. The place had a rustic charm. Copper pans hung above the stove, string lights wrapped around the beams, and quiet jazz hummed in the background. The class was full of strangers, all adults, all here to learn something new. Emma took a seat at one of the workstations, trying not to think too much, not to hope for anything. Then Liam Carter walked in. He was 5 minutes late, little out of breath, with messy dark blonde hair, a Seattle Mariners hoodie, and a kind of careless confidence that made people instinctively turn to look. He scanned the room, eyes pausing on the only empty stool next to Emma. "Is this spot taken?" he asked, offering a friendly smile. Emma blinked, then shook her head. "No, it's all yours." And just like that, the air around her changed. Liam, 36, worked in marketing for a tech company. Originally from Toronto, he had moved to Seattle for a promotion and a fresh start. What he didn't mention right away was that he'd also just ended a long engagement, one that left him doubting everything. He came to the cooking class mostly as a joke, pushed into it by a coworker who swore it would be a great way to meet new people. He didn't expect to actually connect with anyone, but something about Emma's quiet confidence drew him in. She wasn't loud or flirtatious. She was gentle, calm, with kind eyes and a presence that made the chaos in his own mind slow down. They were assigned to cook roasted red pepper pasta with handmade tagliatelle. Emma laughed when Liam admitted he could barely scramble eggs without burning them. She patiently showed him how to slice onions properly, how to roll the pasta dough without tearing it, and how to stir the sauce so it didn't stick. As they cooked, something warm and natural began to simmer between them. It wasn't just chemistry, it was comfort, curiosity, and quiet recognition. They began to talk, slipping into easy conversation as though they'd known each other far longer than a few minutes. Emma told Liam about her love of poetry, how she taught 10th graders who alternated between brilliant and infuriating. She shared how cooking used to make her feel peaceful, how lately it hadn't. She didn't mention Jason, not yet. But the sadness in her voice was enough to suggest a story. Liam, in turn, opened up about his life in Toronto. His ex-fiancée Marissa had been his college sweetheart. But over time, their relationship had changed. They'd grown apart slowly, quietly, until there was nothing left but history and guilt. He moved to Seattle for work, yes, but also for escape. In Emma, Liam saw someone who wasn't trying to impress or pretend. She was real. And in Liam, Emma saw someone who wasn't asking her to be anything but herself. As they cooked side by side, they shared stolen glances and soft smiles. Every accidental brush of their hands sent a small thrill through Emma's chest. The kitchen grew warmer, not just from the ovens and boiling water, but from something unspoken lingering between them. At one point, Liam leaned in close and whispered, "Is it just me, or is it getting really warm in here?" Emma chuckled, a little flustered. "It's probably the chili flakes. And, all the open flames." But her cheeks turned pink and her eyes sparkled by the time they plated their pasta slightly, misshapen but delicious. They had built something fragile and beautiful. Something that felt a lot like the beginning of more. The other students began to clean up. Some left in pairs, some alone. But Emma and Liam lingered, not quite ready to say goodbye. They stood at the edge of something unfamiliar and exciting. Liam rubbed the back of his neck and said, "So, I was thinking, maybe we could come back next week. I clearly still need some help." Emma smiled, unsure whether it was from nerves or something deeper. "Yeah, I think I do too." It could have ended right there, in sweetness and light. But real life always has a way of creeping back in as they stepped outside into the cool evening. Emma's phone buzzed in her jacket pocket. She pulled it out without thinking. A name she hadn't seen in months flashed across the screen. Jason. The message read, "We need to talk. Please don't ignore me." Jason, and just like that, her heart sank. Memories came flooding back. Their last fight. His silence, the feeling of abandonment. The way she had cried on her kitchen floor, wondering what she'd done wrong. And now when she had finally begun to feel alive again, he was reaching out. She slipped the phone back into her pocket, hoping Liam hadn't noticed the sudden shift in her expression. He had, but he didn't ask. Instead, he smiled one last time and said, "See you next Saturday." Emma hesitated just for a second, then nodded. "Yeah, I'll be here." But inside, her emotions were tangled. Hope and confusion, traction and pain. She had walked into the cooking class trying to rediscover herself. Instead, she found two things: a man who made her laugh, made her feel seen, and made her wonder if she could love again. And a ghost from her past reaching out with unfinished words and old wounds. As Liam walked away into the night, Emma stood on the sidewalk, heart racing. She didn't know what Jason wanted. She didn't know what Liam truly meant to her yet. All she knew was that this cooking class had definitely gotten too hot and something in her life. Her past or her future was about to boil over. Themes and emotions explored. Longing, Emma longs to feel joy, love, and safety again after heartbreak. Attraction. There's a subtle yet powerful chemistry between her and Liam. Vulnerability. Both characters carry wounds. They're not perfect, but they're open to healing. Conflict. The return of Jason complicates what could have been a clean start. Hope. Despite her past, Emma starts to feel alive again, showing that love is still possible.